Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy reading literature. And after I'm done, I'm going to go write a book report. I'll just dash off a page or two on how the book made me feel. Oh, my course load is so difficult. How am I going to find more than 3 hours to play Banjo-Kazooie today? Anyway, Chris, in your last video, you talked about how much harder you science people have than we literature people. We literature majors have to deal with important ideas about the human condition, and the Yeti condition, while you're off playing with your little chemistry set. Okay, I'm not gonna bother with this. Roll intro. Videobloggery. Chris, I would like to talk about the 6-month song thing, but that can wait until next week. We have until October, and I want to talk about something different. We've been ripping off the Vlogbrothers since day one, but I don't think we've ever done a serious John Green-style important issue video. But you have given me an opportunity to do so by talking about education, and in particular, the value of an education in the humanities versus an education in the sciences, and whether there is a significant disparity in the amount of effort involved in each. Now, I am an English major at a liberal arts school, and a lot of humanities people here view science with the same disdain that your former professor views literature. I think there's a common attitude in this country that our media tends to support that literature, language, philosophy, history are more important to the human experience than the sciences are. And so a background in the humanities is what it takes to be an intellectual, which of course is crap. I happen to care very much about science, and it really bothers me that we have a culture that does not. And I mean the culture of the United States, but the culture of this campus is guilty in particular. In this school, the core curriculum, regardless of your program of study, involves 3 credits of mathematics and 6 credits in the natural sciences, and 41 credits in the humanities, including a 4-semester sequence called the Development of Western Civilization. That should probably include some developments in science, but does not. So math and science majors get a really strong background in the humanities, but humanities majors do not get a real strong background in the sciences. And humanities majors even tend to complain about the small amount of math and science work they do have to do. That's because our culture highly values literacy in the humanities, but undervalues literacy in the sciences. And that does scare me. Because when you have a culture where being intellectual is mostly defined in humanities terms, you get a culture where less than half of the population believes in evolution. And when someone says something crazy like evolution is just a theory, and another theory that should be taught in science courses is the theory that the Earth is less than 10,000 years old, or that dinosaurs coexisted with humans in the Garden of Eden. We have a culture that is ill-equipped to deal with that, because our Yale-educated president is one of the crazies who doesn't know what science is. Our former president, not the current one. Were I entering college for the first time today, being the smarter and more mature individual than I was 3 years ago, I would not be an English major. I would be a double major with English and one of the natural sciences. But our educational system is constructed in such a way that by the time I realized that, it was far too late for me. So all I can do now is be the most science-literate English major that I could possibly be. So let it never be said that I undervalue science education. That said, in your last video, you accused me of complaining about my course load, which is not true. I was merely noting that it was a heavier course load than my course load of the previous semester, which is particularly significant because I am now expected to produce videos of a much higher quantity and quality. But more importantly, you claim that a science education involves more time and effort than a literature education. Now, I'm not going to deny that outright, because if you're the kind of student who wants an easy major where you can just skim a few books, read the Spark Notes, write a bullshit paper, get a B-, graduate, get a job, and you're done, then you know what? English major might be the major for you, because it allows you to do just that. But an English major can also be something completely different if you're willing to put actual effort into it. In science, every question has a correct answer, and it takes a lot of work to get there, but once you've gotten there, you have your answer. As an English major, you decide what the answer is. In fact, you usually decide what the question is. So unlike a science major, an English major has a chance to either sail through the easy way or do it the right way, the hard way. And I choose to do it the hard way. That is the education that I'm paying for, after all. Or rather, that my parents and my student loans are paying for. Now, doing it the right way involves hundreds upon hundreds of pages of reading every week. And I don't mean reading like you read Twilight. I mean difficult reading that has to be read closely and often has to be reread. And these are challenging books by some of the smartest people who ever lived. It's not easy and it's not quick. Not to mention the writing. For me this semester is probably going to be at least a dozen pages of writing every week. Occasionally much more. You've done National Novel Writing Month. You understand how difficult it is to produce a high volume of text very quickly. Now imagine if it had to be actually coherent and intelligent text that contained a logical organization of original thought. It's difficult, it's draining, and it's taxing to the creative part of your brain. Now I'm sure you have to do some writing, but I'm guessing it's nowhere near as much as we humanities majors have to do. Now I don't know how my course load is compared to yours, but I do know science majors who spend a lot of time working and studying. And as I've admitted, I don't really have to do that. And yes, I also admit there have been times when I've chickened out. I've skimmed a book or solid ghosted a paper. But it does bother me that some science majors tend to belittle the efforts that I and my fellow humanities majors put into our educations, just because we're doing work of a different kind. And they don't seem to understand that even though it doesn't take a lot of effort to be an English major, it does take a lot of effort to be a good English major. And that's all I have to say on that topic for now. Chris, I'll be seeing you quite soon actually in real life, and probably on Tuesday on YouTube. So have a nice breakfast. But as for me, I really have to get back to playing Banjo-Kazooie.